Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast, the show that keeps you in the know with what you need to know in business and technology and for yourself so you can grow. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Rob House, and my co-host, Wilton Rogers, got insight for miles. Miles and miles. We'll give you what you need to know. Get ready for the Business Empowerment Podcast.
Yo, what's up?
Man, we're back again.
We're back again. So, what's popping on your side of the world, man?
I got a new plug-in here. I'm going into the wall today with the internet. How's it sound? Sound good?
It sounds good. Okay.
Yeah, so we got the hard wire today, dude.
Nice.
Hard wire. Man, we got a good show, man. Man, John Knox is in the house. He's actually in the green room, actually, to tell you the
truth. Yeah. Can't wait to talk to him, man. This guy first of all, I think he's a dictionary, man. The guy has a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, but man, I can't wait to go visit him in Texas. Tell you that.
Yeah.
The conversation I had, I'm like, man, I see he's already sent us his ranch and his horses and stuff. Like, I'm trying to tell you, when I'm headed to Texas, I'm stopping his way, whether he likes it or not. So just if you're not there, just leave me your keys. Let me hang around your ranch.
Oh man.
Yeah. So what's popping, man?
Man, listen, every day is another day, and we're thankful for it. We are growing like crazy.
Yeah, we are.
It's growing like crazy, man. A lot of it has to do with just having these great conversations with people.
Yeah,
having great conversations, and great conversations turn to great meetings and other relationships. And before you know it, man, we got a party.
Dude, it's crazy how fast we've been growing. And it's almost surreal sometimes. I wake up like, dang, are we really growing that fast? I mean, I wake up every morning with a couple more emails or a couple more messages wanting to know more about what we do. It's a blessing for sure, man. It's like, and we have built a strong foundation, but we're still tweaking a lot of things because we see that growth, man. We see that growth, and we're just very blessed to have so many great people in our circle.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing, is that we have a lot of people believe in what we're doing, and they see what we're doing, and just being able to feed off them and their energy and their experience has catapulted us to where we're going, man. It's just like, it's just very blessed. And what's crazy, what's funny is when I talk to like my friends and family, I can't have a conversation with them because they don't get it, right? Yeah, so you're growing, yeah, okay, well, they don't understand what I mean by we're international.
Yeah. It's hard.
It is, man. I mean, we just got a conversation last night with a client at 8:00 at night. Woke up this morning at 5:30 in the morning, have another conversation with a client. It's like, from all over the world. It's like crazy, man. It's like crazy. So very blessed. Yeah,
man. Yes. Let's show our video and then come back with John, see what John's doing, because he's done a lot and is doing a lot. Okay. He's
doing what we're doing before we did it.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. He knows exactly what we're doing and more. So yeah.
It's so interesting.
So yeah, let's go to our intro, and when we come back, John will be with us. Be right back.
What if there was a way to get more done by using less effort? What if you could eliminate all the mundane, tedious, repetitive daily tasks off your plate? What if you could have more time to do the things you want to do, like customer engagement, branding, and spending more time with those who are important to you, like your team, your friends, and your family? Well, you can, and RPA can do that for you. RPA, Robotic Process Automation, is a technology that is literally transforming businesses overnight, giving you and your staff more time to do more meaningful things. The STA Group will show you how this can be done in less than 30 days and taking less than 5 hours of your time in the process. In that 30 days, you will learn how to identify all the places of your business that can be automated, and the STA Group will show you how. From conversation to activation in less than 30 days. You will only find that right here. You will be ahead of your competition, and you will give your business the opportunity to grow once you learn how to scale through automation. Contact us today for a free 30-minute discovery evaluation, and we'll show you how to transform your business overnight.
Boom!
We are back. We are back with the man himself.
What's up, my friend?
That name's going to change here.
It's gonna change.
It is. Yes, it is.
Gonna change.
Thanks for reminding us. Yes, everybody. Just in case you don't know, Scale Through Automation STA Group will be we're moving from LLC to incorporation, and we decided to change our name. And our new name is Simply Automate.
Simply Automate.
Inc.
Yeah. There's a big story behind that. We'll tell you that later. We'll tell you that one later. What's up, John? How you doing?
How we doing?
Good.
Hey, beautiful day here in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, dude, I know. I already know.
I was listening to you back in the room. We'll have the bunkhouse ready.
I can't wait, man. Well, like I said, half of my family lives in San Antonio. That's where, my father's from. So I know exactly where you're at. So
yep.
When we stop on by, in fact, we're looking to, just to let you know, I don't think I haven't told anybody this, not even so my family's listening to, they're going to find out. So we're thinking about moving to Austin, right? So,
all right.
So we're looking at probably making a trip out to Austin in July. So, I think there might be about a 2-hour drive. We have to head on to your way from, you're about an hour and a half away from Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on where you are. If you live in North Austin, is maybe 2.5 hours. But if you're in South Austin, then it's less than an hour.
I don't know the difference, but I know it's over by Dripping Springs area.
That's south.
Okay.
That's actually closer.
Okay.
That's closer here. So that's
Cool.
that's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Right.
I noticed the shirt.
Right? I'm putting it out there, man. I'm putting it out there.
My wife's an Aggie, so we won't talk about it.
Oh man, there we go. It's funny because
Welcome, Lawrence.
Oh, I know. I went to my brother's an Aggie, and when I was living in Houston, he took us to the quarterback Mod. He just got drafted actually by Minnesota, and we want to go see him because my brother's best friend's son is Mod, it's Kevin Mod, and we want to go see him. And I said, okay, man. I put my Texas stuff. I go, dude, don't you ever wear that stuff around us. He goes, you want to go to the stadium and get beat up? Go right ahead. So
yeah, I think the rivalry in the military services is bad.
Right. I know. I heard. So, well, awesome, man. So, how you doing, man?
Doing great.
Good.
John Knotts, welcome to the show, my brother. The Business Empowerment Podcast live. We're live all around the world.
All around.
If you're listening right now, and if you're listening, this would be a good opportunity to maybe take some notes if possible. Noting is always great.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know what note you might be able to use later.
That's
But you know the thing about the note you didn't write down? Can't use it. Unless you remember it.
You don't know it.
You don't know it. And if you remember it, you might not remember everything.
Right.
If anything. So yeah.
So I'm gonna read a little bit of John's profile description here on LinkedIn. So I help people and businesses strategically grow, scale, and improve. Like that. My career of coaching clients desire to improve their career, job, or position, get organized, develop goals, and stick to them. How about that one? Develop goals and sticking to them. I was just on Emo's show, Mindcrest, John, you referred me to. I actually just got out there a minute ago, and she asked me about that. And it's about what's something that people could do. I was like, write down goals and then do them. Like, yeah, how about that? Write down, do it. Okay, find purpose in life, create a vision, and build direction. Then my business clients desire to develop clear, strategic direction and build strong company culture. Oh, buddy, strong company culture. That is the thing that's like the new thing that's coming in. It's like it's now cool. That's like becoming the new cool thing, right? If it's have a good company culture, because we know it drives revenue, like because that's why they're doing it. They know it works. We should have been doing that a long time ago. But thanks, John, for you doing it a long time ago. Okay, grow their operations, scale to meet demand, and improve along the journey. John Knotts, welcome to the show. You are more than just a consultant and a coach, man. You are somebody. You got more books that are behind you in that brain.
So it's a dictionary, man.
This is fake. No, just kidding. They're real. I've got books all over the place.
I love it, dude. Like I am a geek for this stuff. But I probably don't read. I just do a lot of audiobooks. So,
well, I do that too, but mostly in the business book. I like to
get your hands on it.
I like to, dog ear things, and like I said, I've got books everywhere. Wow. I put tape flags in them. My book, "To Good to Great," looks like it's gone through a war zone.
Ooh, Good to Great book. That's a really good book, man.
I read that back in like 2008.
Yeah, it's been out for a long time.
Yeah.
Man. But that was a major book. A lot of clients that I've worked with have read that book, and they look at the concepts that are in there. So it's always good that when you're working with business owners, leaders, presidents, CEOs, stuff like that, that you know what they're reading and then read it. Because then you can talk about it with them.
Dang, that's good.
That's
like such
everybody got their pen ready, right? Because but no, that's a kind of a life lesson that I learned a long time ago. That if you know what your clients are reading, and that when I use the word client, that's client, customers, doesn't matter what it is. But if you know what they're reading and you can talk to them on the same playing field.
Absolutely.
That's very true. It makes it a lot easier. It makes them comfortable as well. It gets them knowing that, hey, you know what? It's almost like you're on the same level right away.
Well, my other issue that I deal with is that I work with a lot of leaders that are heavy, voracious readers, and they may read 2 or 3 books at a time. They're kicking out at least a book a month. The problem is that they get these really good ideas from the books. And then the next thing you know, they want to implement that idea. And a lot of good CEOs tend to be visionaries, and they are, if you look at the Colby assessment framework, they're quick starts, but they don't have a whole lot of follow through. That's where the integrator comes in, to be the follow through for your organization. So what happens is they get this really good idea. It's like, oh, let's go do this. And they come into the office and they talk to their team and let's go and, charge that hill. And all of the follow through people start charging the hill. And then that CEO goes and reads another book. It shows up the next day. I got a great idea. So that's another reason why I really pay attention to what people that I'm working with are reading, because I don't want to be caught, one, sidelined by a good idea that was in a book that I didn't know about, and two, I want to make sure that if they do have a good idea, that I can implement it and make it stick before they go to the next good idea.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You didn't. Oh, go ahead. Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, in fact, what we did is, for our company, is we haven't done it probably in about 2 or 3 months, where we got to get back to it because we've been so crazy busy. So it's like we sort of forgot about it.
Our book a month, yeah.
We have a book a month. What we did is like all of our managers for 1 month, we pick a book and we all had to read it, and then at the end of the month we discussed what we read and what the highlights were and all that. And it was so cool because everybody got to know what everybody thought about, what their interest was. And so now we got to get back to that because I really enjoy that. In fact, I mean, I've been dabbling on books that I haven't even talked to people about, but that was so much fun. So, not only with our clients, but working
you
with
have your pen ready?
Got it. Got to record it. So go ahead.
So why read the book if you go to executivebookreview.com right now, you can sign up for free book reviews from the faculty that they read and present these books to you. And you get to discuss them, and you don't even have to read them. They're going to facilitate a discussion around the concepts of the book, and you get to meet other lifelong learners.
Wow.
And shameless plug.
Wow.
I'm speaking tomorrow morning at 8:00 in the morning Central Time on Cumulative Advantage, Mark Schaefer's new book. I'll be presenting that.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. So,
like that.
And this is free, and we do it 3 times a month. We do it the first Friday, the fourth Friday at 8:00. And then we have an in-person one here in San Antonio, Texas. So when you're in Austin, you'll be able to pop down here. But we do it. It's our wine and cheese night on the second Wednesday. And
what's it called again?
It's called executivebookreview.com. Been around for 7 years. It's a nonprofit organization. And it was born out of what you were talking about, Wilton. The idea that it was a CEO peer group set up. There you go, like that. CEO peer group that was set up. And they would do essentially the same thing. They would talk about a book, but they only talk about it for like 10 minutes. And one of the CEOs that was in that organization is just like, this is not enough. So he got together with the consultant that was facilitating that. And he said, let's do something like this, but let's do it for like 45 minutes, and we'll do networking around it, and we'll let lifelong learners meet each other. And it turned into a huge thing. And I think we have about 20 faculty members now.
Oh, wow.
And we're growing. We're getting really active. We had a chapter in Houston and down in Corpus, but with the pandemic, everything went on Zoom. So we closed those. And now that things are starting to get back to normal, especially here in Texas, we'll start looking at that again. And we want to open one in Austin too. So, but it's a great program, and it's free. And
amazing. Yeah, thank you for sharing that resource.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I'll see you there tomorrow.
Right.
I got it in my notes right now, because I literally, honestly, to your point, book reviews, like that's really what has been the catalyst for me. There's a gentleman I was following, his name is Brian Johnson. It's called The Philosopher's Notes. And this brother I'm talking about, I know the book. Oh yeah. So it's unbelievable what he does and how he breaks takes any book and he literally gets the top points and allows you to dive in. And I think the purpose behind,
and they have a website.
Yeah, it's philosophersnotes.com.
Okay.
Yeah, philosophersnotes.com.
Might want to share that one too.
Yeah. And
there's a 4-minute book review thing that I use all the time when I want to know about, somebody tells me about a book, because I probably have 40 books down here that I still need to read. This is well over 300 behind me. But I always look at like what do the reviews say, or what does that 4-minute review say? Because I find sometimes that a book, like I'll read the first 2 chapters, I'll be like, okay, I know what the rest of this looks like.
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste a whole lot of time when there's a lot of really good books out there. But
right,
I've got one.
Yeah,
1 or 2 back there, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about you weren't always a business coach. You didn't always have these skills. How did you get them, man? Like what? So let's talk about a little history. I know you capsulized it, but digest it into how you became this walking Dr. X.
So it's funny because I was a failure in college. I was pretty much a failure in high school. I belonged to a group of friends. We called ourselves the Skippers. We were professional class skippers. And I really didn't give a hoot about school. My parents wanted me to go. They were paying for it, but I didn't want to be there. And I completely failed. And then I came home for the holidays, the Christmas holiday, and said, I don't want to go back. And my parents begged me to do it. They were paying. And I was like, all right. I tried again, and I didn't enjoy it. I ended up working like 7 different jobs, and finally I went and I enlisted in the Air Force. And I enlisted as a cop because I didn't want to sit behind a desk. And so I was kind of what they refer to as an ate-up maggot. I was a lifer. I knew I was going to go 20 years when I pretty much started. And about after 3 years, I really got into the groove of figuring out like how to be successful at things. I started to really enjoy learning again, but I was learning with purpose. But it wasn't until probably about 1990, 1992, the Air Force got into total quality management, but they called it Quality Air Force. So it was their quality program. Operational excellence is what I refer to this now today. And I really liked it. And I had an opportunity to retrain into a career field called Manpower and Quality in 1998. And essentially, we were industrial engineers. We focused on strategic planning, process improvement, and basically running your organization professionally. And that began my effort of coaching and consulting senior Air Force officers and enlisted on how best to run their organizations with the manpower that they were given. And so that was in 98, and I retired in 2008, August of 2008, and I started my own company. I really didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I started my own company, and almost immediately I got a phone call from Booz Hamilton, which is top 10 consulting firm in the nation. And they asked me to come in to interview for a job that I hadn't applied for and they hadn't posted. So this is, you know, like, why is network important? Why is it important to have a network? Well, somebody that was in my network got my resume and it put it in their system for Booz Allen.
Look at that.
And when they did a Boolean search against this job, just to see if they had anybody in their current system that met the qualifications, my resume came up. And when I went to go interview for the job, the guy who was hiring me, he had the resume sitting right in front of him, and he had all of these red circles throughout the resume. And he looks at me and he says, everything that we were looking for in our Boolean search is on your resume.
Wow.
And this is like, you know, like this was the first words pretty much out of his mouth besides hi and my name is.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. I was probably a little bit cocky, but I was like, so is this an interview or you just want to know when I can start? And he said, when can you start? And I literally went to go work. Like 2 weeks later, I started in their intro program, and I worked with Booz Allen for 3 years, and they were huge. They really taught you. I learned a lot. I mean, that was definitely a growth opportunity for me. And after 3 years, they had gone IPO, and I didn't quite like the direction that they were going, and I left and went full-time with working for myself again. And almost immediately was picked up by USAA, Fortune 100 company here in San Antonio. And they were Fortune 200 at the time. Now they're a Fortune 100 company. But I like to say that I had something to do with that. But they brought me in on a contract for 6 months, and I was there for 1 month on that contract. And the executive director that I was working with pulled me into the office and said, when you're 6 months up here, I'm finding you a job. And he did. And I stayed with them for 7 years, and I worked on 4 strategic engagements, just evolving everything in that 32,000 person organization. So I had a lot of really good experiences in 2019. I wanted to publish my first book. They weren't too keen on it. They felt it was a conflict of interest. So I said, all right, bye. And I left, went to work for myself full time again, and published my first business book.
Wow.
So,
what year was that? What year?
That was 2019.
2019.
Yeah, May of 2019 is when I published. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so it's
That's amazing.
a lot of experience.
Story, man.
Got a lot of education.
Yeah.
My bachelor's, my master's, my PhDs, all focused on this stuff. I have multiple certifications and things like Lean Six Sigma. So robotic process automation. I ran an entire team on RPA, learned a whole lot about how to automate your work center that we've talked about before. but just a lot of stuff in my background, and now it's really helpful. I also own 5 businesses. I've started 7 and I still own 5 of them. So
Started 7, owns 5.
So I also know what business owners go through, what they deal with.
Right.
Man, you talk about RPA, and you've done this in the past. Well, why do companies need that? Like, why do companies even need automation?
More so now than ever, and it's so easy. We have automation. We don't even realize we have it. If you have a Calendly account, that's right. Automation. That's happening. Yeah. And so a lot of businesses, the problem is that they don't understand what they're doing are processes. This is their first step into understanding things, because they do the same thing over and over again, but they have never sat down and actually said, that's what I do. But when they understand that's what they do, much of what they do is repetitive, and it follows a set of business rules. It's done the exact same way every time, depending on maybe the situation, but the activity's the same. And right. When you take a process and you tear it down into its very basic core, you get these chunks that you can automate. And when you automate something, you remove a whole lot of time, so you can speed it up. Of course, you get rid of the human element, so that frees them up to do other things that are probably more strategic and more innovative for the company. Yep. But also, it removes risk. So there's a lot of defects that happen in a manual process. So you're cutting and pasting from an Excel spreadsheet and putting it into a system, maybe SharePoint. You're doing something like that, you're bound to make mistakes.
Right.
Or if you're actually typing something in, you're definitely going to make some mistakes.
Oh, man.
And when you're using something like Excel spreadsheets, the opportunity is to just mess up, maybe a calculation field or something like that. When you automate something like that, what it does is it gets rid of all that human error. Now, it doesn't mean that there won't possibly be mistakes, because an RPA, we've talked about this before, but an RPA it's basically a employee of your company. It still needs to be trained. It still needs to be managed. Care and feeding has to occur. But it's so much easier to just go in there and say, okay, here, let me move this. Now I got to click here instead of click up here, or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing that people don't realize, is how much risk they have in their process, how many defects that they're producing. And when you automate it, you get rid of the defects, the human defects. Of course, if your process has defects, then you got to clean it up. But that's one of the biggest things that, robotic process automation, any automation, really brings to the forefront.
Absolutely. I think you said it perfectly too. But you were doing RPA before it was even called RPA, right?
We actually, the first instance of it, I was working at USAA, and the bank came over, and they had this new macro tool, and it would reside on the computer versus the actual, like Excel or something like that, where you would run a macro or a database or something. And it was like, oh, this is really interesting. And we were in document management. We were running these mortgage processes, and they knew they were repetitive, and they wanted to take a look at it. So they sat down, they put the computer on there. It looked at everything that everybody did, and then they automated it. And I think we knocked out like 7 steps or something like that of a 14-step process that was, just click of the button and poof, it was just done. And I don't remember how much the savings was back then, but when I started thinking about it at the time, Watson had come out.
Oh yeah.
And we had a contractor that was working with us that was doing inbound mail processing, and they were looking at RPA from the perspective, this robotic process automation that was coming out. And the thing and this is before machine learning was even a thing, but there was this Watson. And then there was this RPA thing. And I was like, well, what happens when the RPA runs into something the answer isn't there? Like, it's looking for something, it's not there. Well, then it kicks it out and it comes to a human, and the human figures it out, and basically it will say, do this. So the human intervention happens. And I was like, well, what if we were to combine Watson, which is a thinking computer, with the RPA so that it looks at every time that the human does something and what they do, and it learns from it. So I actually invented machine learning.
That's pretty good.
I know this, obviously everybody was like, that's stupid.
Wow.
And then here, like 2-3 years later, we got machine learning. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Right.
But yeah, that was a long time ago. It was before, robotic process automation was a thing, and it came out about 2 years later, and now it's huge. I mean, there's software. I've done it, on my own home computer, built my own robotic process automations, my own bots.
It's pretty incredible, and I think it's getting even more incredible because more folks are realizing how important it is. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and then get a couple more tips from you, John. And we're going to talk about, how businesses are actually winning. Like a lot of times when you can hear the how, it kind of inspires you to do the do, So we'll be back in a second.
When I come back, I had to. Well, I'll tell you the story. So I told my wife, she goes, okay. She sent me on an appointment, doctor's appointment, and she looked at my schedule. So you're open at 2:00. I said, all right, then book it. I didn't realize that the doctor is 30 minutes away from here, right? So I'm going to be back live, but I'll be doing it from my cell phone while I'm driving. This is what happens when you go live, right? You can do whatever you want. So I'll see you guys right after this on my cell phone, man. All right.
Perfect, man. See you in a minute.
The entire business economy was impacted by the pandemic. Trying to adjust to our new business culture and make the right choices can seem overwhelming. But the need to understand technology and automation today is a must if you want to stay competitive. Companies gain an immediate advantage over their competitors once they understand how to implement RPA into their current activities. Scale Through Automation has made it easy to gain this knowledge and to implement automation so you can have the time to focus on your business, adjustments, and its growth. This is where STA affiliates can impact their clients' businesses and fast. Simply share your clients' needs with us and we'll show you how RPA can create big wins for them in a very short period of time. According to Gartner, over 50% of all businesses will have some sort of RPA implementation by 2027. Don't you think you owe it to your clients to make sure they have this information? The training and support you get through our affiliate program will allow you to make a difference in your client's business while improving your RPA knowledge and receiving a nice residual along the way. Set up a 30-minute affiliate consultation to see how RPA can have an immediate impact on your client's business and your life. We have the blueprint. Join our team.
There we go.
We have the blueprint.
We got the blueprint. And I'm about to add my brother. Bam! Add him. There he is on the road. Hey,
can you guys see me? I'm leaving now. In fact,
okay.
Here's my crew right here.
Hey, what's up, crew?
So, you say
hi. So look, I'm gonna take you out and you get in the car and I'll bring you back in.
Yeah, do that.
All right, cool. So that's perfect, man. We got a doctor's appointment across the town. John, automation. You've been talking about it for years. You've been trying to get people to understand, but let's talk about some wins. What's some of the big wins that you've seen because people have, taken advantage of the technology, automation, we'll say.
So, here's one of the things about automation that's really important is that it can become a management shiny object. So we talked about the leaders that read a book, they come up with this really good idea, and they come into the office and they get everybody spun up around this great idea, and then it dies on the vine because some other good idea comes up. Well, robotic process automation as a whole can become a shiny object, a neat little toy. And I know this because I ran a team, and I kind of looked at it like that perspective, and I had to open my eyes. I call it, breaking my paradigm of, intelligent process automation. The idea here is that you need to look at everything that you do and look for the opportunities. If you see like, hey, I have some big opportunities, some big saving potentials in some of these processes, I need to look end to end in those processes and see if there are multiple opportunities that will improve the overall experience to the customer. Because what happens is that when you just tackle one small process, which is great for, your opening salvo, is to just, I'm going to try this and I'm going to see what it does. And you're going to see, like, you'll go from 150 people taking 30 minutes to do a task to 5 seconds on a computer, and 150 people at 30 seconds or 30 minutes. That's a huge difference. So you'll find the savings. But the problem is what happens is you'll sub-optimize the overall process, and the end to end doesn't change. So what I learned is that you have to be very strategic about what you select in your program. And you look at where you have these big opportunities for savings, where you have a lot of manual activity, and there's it's a simple thing to automate it. There isn't a whole lot of decisions that need to be made. It's fairly smooth. You find those big pockets of opportunity, then what you do is you go up and downstream in that process, and you look for, do I have multiple opportunities in that? Now, we discovered that we were doing some recruiting, and we actually discovered after a while, we started automating like multiple parts of one process, and then we rolled them all into one big, huge bot that basically did the whole thing.
Wow.
But if we had done that up front, we would have saved so much time. And that's when, you really get the bang for the buck, because now the customer is going to see it. They're going to feel the speed. They're going to feel the improvements in the process, the lack of defects, like all that stuff is going to be gold to them, which is gold to your company.
Gold to them, which is gold to your company. You better believe that.
Yeah.
That's 100% fact right there. And so getting people to that place sometimes is difficult. We've taken the approach of being the educators. We try to educate as much as we possibly can to heighten the understanding. Is there certain things that you do to help, shorten the learning curve so that the comprehension can happen faster?
So if the company's big, one of the things that's important is to engage with all of the key players. So if there's a human resource department, you need to bring HR in. If they have an IT department, you need to bring in IT. Maybe it's an architect or something like that. The reason why is because you'll start on this road, and the business owner can get really excited quickly about what they see, especially when you can do it really quickly. You get, this agile approach, and you're doing it under 30 days. It's super powerful.
Right.
The problem is that other people start to get a little worried. So HR doesn't know what's going on, and then the people that are in the process, they get concerned. You need to get HR involved.
Yep.
IT's like, wait a minute, like, what are you doing? We're in charge of technology in this company. We're responsible for all this stuff. What are you're putting us at risk with this user developed application. So you have to get them involved so that they can see the rigor that's involved in that. So those are some key things when you're working with a bigger organization. The most important thing is to really take them through things that they already have automated that they don't even realize they've automated.
Yeah.
Do they have any macros that are currently they're using in their database or in their Excel spreadsheets? Do they have a repeatable approach that they're using already, and they don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just say, now what we're going to do is we're just going to take that from one system across more than one system.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. And if you do something, the first projects usually should be really small so that they can see the impact. You can get it done really quickly and easily.
Right.
And then it's like, you just got a home run, knock it out of the park. And then they're like, okay, what would it take for me to do this, with all of my processes?
Mm.
That's a great point. That's a great point that you brought up. I think it's important for them to do a very low-hanging fruit process so they can understand it without investing a lot of time or money into seeing how it works. And then once they see that, I mean, our experience is that every one of our clients, there hasn't been one client that hasn't moved on to a second or third process once we handle that low-hanging fruit. So it makes total sense.
And there's, like in every organization, there's so much low-hanging fruit.
Right.
I mean, it's so simple to find some simple thing that you're doing that can be automated. Mm-hmm. I look at everything as just a solopreneur. I'm work for myself. There are things every day that I can automate. And it's just, oh, well, that's simple. I have to, every new client is going to get a proposal. Mm-hmm. Every new client is going to get a contract if we go to that route. Every new client is going to get invoiced. Those activities are repetitive. I do the same things every time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, all right, that's easily automated. Push a button and it's done. Mm-hmm. I might have to, provide a little bit of detail, but that's it.
Man, welcome to the 21st century, ladies and gentlemen. This is the greatest time to be alive as a human being. It may not have felt that way last year. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, right.
But nevertheless, this is a phenomenal time to be alive.
Rob, you make a really good point there. So last year was a great time to do this. This is the opportunity for businesses that are still stuck in the pandemic mode, because not all areas are open, like Texas, which I thank you. I'm very happy about, and that's probably why Wilton's moving. He doesn't want to wear a mask around. But there are a lot of places that are still struggling, and they're scared. Business owners are scared, but this is the opportunity to get innovative and to take the quantum leaps that when the pandemic, see, this is the situation. I wrote a book about this in 2020, right after the pandemic started. It was in July. I published it. It was a PDF. It's free. And one of the things that's happening right now is that so many businesses have gone out of business because they weren't prepared for this. Mm-hmm. And when people start coming out of their homes, and I see this here in Texas right now, people start coming out of their homes, businesses get overwhelmed with work because they have, one, there's an increase in customer base,
right?
And two, your competitors are gone. So if you are not ready to scale,
well, that's so interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but this is happening. Like I'm watching this happen. Yeah. I mean, one of the challenges that many of the states in the United States are dealing with is the subsidy for the unemployment. So people don't want to go back to work because they're making enough money sitting at home playing video games, watching Netflix. Mm-hmm. But those subsidies are going away. Texas just said no more, and they're getting rid of theirs on June 26th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So people are going to have to make some hard decisions.
Yep.
But there's many businesses are struggling to be able to meet the crush of customers that are hitting their door. And it's not because they were sitting part of it's because they've been sitting in their home for a year and they want to just get out and do some shopping. But the other thing is that there's a lot of customers, or a lot of businesses that don't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was driving through over here in Stone Oak. I was driving through a little it's a big shopping center, and about every third front window had a big sign in it. open for lease, open for lease. These businesses are gone. So the opportunity now for businesses that are dealing with this is invest. It doesn't cost that much. Invest and be prepared for when the pandemic ends in your area, coming to a theater near you.
Yes. John, man, you hit it on the head. John, tell me this. One thing we ask all of our guests is my favorite question to ask. If you had one wish, you can get it. It's going to be, you're going to have it. It's going to happen. Okay. What would that one wish be, man?
So my big, huge thing is planning. And you've heard the statistics that small businesses, like 9 out of 10 of them fail within 10 years.
Yeah.
Most of them fail within the first 4, like 60 plus 80% fail. I hate that.
I actually posted that today. I actually posted that today on LinkedIn.
Okay. So
really?
Wilton, I hate that. I just absolutely hate it. I know how hard it is to put together a business, but I also know you can do the research, and there's a lot of reasons that they will give you. Those reasons are just symptoms. The bottom line is that most businesses fail because they lack planning. They never took the time to develop a plan. I mean, a real plan, not some crap you download from the internet and fill out as a template. I'm talking about truly you are moving towards a vision for your company. And every day, my plan is sitting right here next to me. And every day I follow this plan. Everybody should be following a plan in their business. But the problem is they don't really know how to create that. They have a really good idea with what they do. They're good at, the product that they sell, the product that they create. But they don't really know how to run a business. They don't know how to build a plan. If I had one wish, is that I would have the ability to give everybody, and there's an opportunity here for automation, I know this, but I would give everybody a plan that they could follow. That would be phenomenal. And it has to be tailored. It's not like you can just be like, oh, here it is, deal it out like a deck of cards. It has to be tailored to every business. I know this. But the opportunity there is to give people the ability that sets them up for success.
That's good, man.
And I'll tell you, you'd have so much less business failure.
Oh my gosh.
The businesses that fail deserve to fail at that point.
Yeah,
they do.
Talking planning, man. You're talking planning, brother. You're talking planning. I mean, look, I heard, a minute of planning, saves about 10 to 15 minutes of production. I heard that.
Easy. So many false starts, so much time wasted, so much money spent. Then you're like, oh crap, we're going in the absolute wrong direction. What are we doing here? I won't work with somebody as a client unless they have a strategic plan or they're willing to create one first.
That makes sense.
Because why would you hire me?
Yeah.
It's not in your plan.
Not in your plan.
So the first step, let's develop the plan.
Can anyone finish this sentence? If you fail to plan,
you plan to fail.
Hey, I think, how come everyone knows that?
I saw one comment that came across that very much said that. So I think it's from Tamar.
Oh, hey, yep. Oh, man.
Yep. Fail to plan to fail.
Look at that. That's so interesting.
Yep. And that's the whole thing, is that planning doesn't have to be super oppressive. When I started in the Air Force, the first thing, I had a really good mentor, a guy named Jerry Pena, and he was big into strategic planning. And he involved me, and I was part of developing the 11-step model for the Air Force.
Wow.
So I still have the book right here. I still have this little book. You can actually get this online. It's called Process Improvement Guide. It's a U.S. Air Force publication. You're going to get it used because they don't make it anymore.
Oh my goodness.
And in here is the 11-step model for strategic planning.
That's you? That's you?
So what we did is we actually took the 11-step model and we broke it out into this massive like step-by-step thing. That's probably like 150, 160 steps. It was crazy. And at the time I was like, I was wet behind the ears. I didn't know any better. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Now I realize that it's actually really simple. It really is. There's just key things that you need, especially when you're trying to establish what I call a strategic foundation to get to what do you do? Why do you do it?
Yeah.
Where are you going? And how am I going to do it? And that where I'm going, you can look at, this is where I'm going. You get that picture in your head, and you look at where you are today. And Wilton's doing this right now because he's driving to a doctor's office. So he had to think about, like, what roads am I taking, right?
Right.
That's called gap analysis.
Gap analysis. Love
Gap
it.
analysis is where I am today and where I'm going. These are the steps that I got to go to get there.
Well said.
Future forecast.
That's it.
Hey,
Gentlemen,
Exactly.
well, I know
Yeah.
you're going to continue this. Like I said, I got to put this on. I got to step into the appointment. But I'm going to leave early. But, hey, John, always great talking to you. I know we're going to be talking here via email or somewhere the next day or two.
Oh, I'm sure.
But, man, it's always a pleasure. My brother Rob, I'll let you guys here in a bit, man. All right? I
right, man.
appreciate you guys. All right.
See you, man.
yeah, John. So, how's the best way for folks to reach out, man? What's the best way for people to find you?
So let's start with social media. That I'm very active on pretty much Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Those are the areas where I'm mostly at all the time.
Okay.
LinkedIn specifically,
Yeah.
I call myself Success Incubator because I incubate success. That's my job. And you can also find me at my website. It's crosscutter.com, but it's CROSSCTR.com. And on that website, you can find all kinds of free information.
Say it again.
You can find all kinds. Oh, the website?
Uh-huh.
It's CROSSCTR.com. So it's like crosscutter.com. And on the website, all kinds of free information. I write for a lot of different publications, particularly for Forbes. And next week, my 90th article and feature will come out with Forbes. So I just received a feature today that I'll post tomorrow. I had one for today. I had one 2 days ago. So but I write a lot with Forbes and I'm very active with them.
Yeah.
And they invited me to be what they call champion of community. So here comes the arm.
Yeah, see that arm? That's the.
But so I have a lot of information out there that is, it's just a wealth of knowledge, and it's not just for me. The features always involve anywhere from 10 to 15 Forbes coaches. So there's all kinds of information, good ideas, tips on everything you can imagine, because these questions are posed by other coaches or by business owners, business professionals. And then right now I'm working with Authority magazine. So that's spelled, Authority is spelled AUTHOTTI, I think. Trying to think. She spells it Mary Henderson, who's very active on LinkedIn. Yeah. She has this Authority 5.0 magazine.
Oh yeah, Mary Henderson, Authority 5.0. Yeah, she is. Yeah. She's been a guest on here. Been knowing Mary for actually, Mary did her first podcast. I think I was her first guest of her new show 2.5 years ago. It's crazy.
Okay.
And since then, man, she's just been. And you know what she attracts, John? She attracts such great people. Like, so I met you at. Like, yes. She's just a great attractor. Like, her algorithm of the people that comes through her realm, I like it.
Yep. And she produces that magazine. It's fantastic. This magazine is full of stuff.
Oh my goodness.
And it's geared towards coaches, consultants, and business owners.
Yes.
And I write for that. Mary and I both used to write for a publication called Global Business Playbook. I don't know what the future is going to be with that. The editor's been challenged with stuff, but I love writing. I love sharing. And if they go to my website, there's all kinds of information that you can get, learn all about what I know, what I don't know, and what I have to offer.
Yeah, that's good stuff. John Knox, thank you, brother, for being on the show. Thank you.
I appreciate the invite.
Man, thanks for doing what you do. And just, you got a heart for people and change, and you're doing something about it.
Oh.
And I look forward to what we're going to do, man. We're doing some stuff together now. And I think this is only the beginning. I love meeting people like you.
Yeah. All right, man.
Follow John. Check him out. And listen, remember, everything you learn, take action with it. Learn it. Implement. Learn. Implement. Okay? Take action. Action cures a lot of things. Thanks, John. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Take it easy.
So, John Knox, guys, make sure you follow him. The links are in there. He's doing awesome things. I love learning from people like that. They just got a heart for people, but then they know something to do. Like, some people got hearts, but they don't really know that much, which is fine. But I like to learn from people. So if you got a heart for people and you can teach me something, I'm really, really on your team. And so you want to surround yourself with folks like that. So continue to remember this. There's an algorithm that you are putting out, right? There's an algorithm. And whatever you are putting out, you will soon see. So start to look at the people you're attracting. Start to look at your environment. You start to assess it. Because whatever you see is a reflection from inside. So when you start to introspect and work on yourself, you start to get the visual outside as you want to see. When you start to introspect and take a look at your business and review your processes, then you start to see some of the mistakes that you've been making. You can course correct them. Self-reflect, course correct, go in the right direction. Peace. And remember, you are what you think about. So think about what you're thinking about. Think about what you're thinking about.
Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast, the show that keeps you in the know with what you need to know in business and technology and for yourself so you can grow. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Rob House, and my co-host, Wilton Rogers, got insight for miles. Miles and miles. We'll give you what you need to know. Get ready for the Business Empowerment Podcast.